Hello, Renee. I
Hi,
am so
Claudia.
excited that you're here. You have something really amazing that you're bringing to Creative Healing Center. Is this great workshop that I'm so captivated by everything that you're putting together, your medicine, your gifts, and your personality. So I thought
Mm,
that we could do a little interview and ask you a few questions because there's so much that I'm sure people want to know about you.
mm.
So, yeah, tell us about that workshop.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the kind welcome. I so appreciate it. And I've been, a fan of the Creative Healing Center for many, many years. So I'm super excited to finally get the chance to come and do a workshop there in your incredibly beautiful space.
Mm.
Yeah. Collaborative vocal improv is the idea that musicality really is available to any human being, and that with really just small prompts, we can, there's an entryway into musicality with different kinds of skill sets that I make very easily available and accessible for people, regardless of any kind of, experience making music. And that we can actually create music in the moment.
Really?
Yes.
Like what if people feel like they can't keep a tune or they feel vulnerable? Like what about that?
Yeah, it's a great question. Um, well, there's another element for me, which is beyond the musical skill element, and
Mm.
that is about just being able to open up our voices and express.
Mm.
We need safe places in the world to be able to actually, you know, open up our voices and express. And this particular workshop is focusing a little more on what I'm calling collaborative vocal improv. However, a lot of my work is really what I'm interested in is the intersection between music and life. So for me, there's a lot of parallels with the qualities of music makers and qualities that we can develop, inside of our own being as well. I find the overlaps all the time. Things like I'm trying to think of, specific qualities, but um, even quietude is
Mm.
a
All the
quality
silences in
is a
between the
quality of
notes.
music makers.
Oh,
Exactly.
wow, that's fascinating. Like it's almost like honoring the quiet. And we don't have to be making a sound all the time, but also like weaving in the sound with the silence. Is that about right?
That's yeah, it's a lot about that, and it's also about the process of listening to what's already there, and in particular making space for other people, which again is a life skill, right? It's a skill inside of the circle of music. It's also a life skill in our work settings, in our relationships. So we actually get to practice what it's like to make space, accept and include, and find ways to also think about, how do I want to contribute to what's already there.
Wow, this is blowing my mind. This is like so much more than just having fun.
It is
And
so much more than just having fun. And I do feel like I market it as fun because
Mm,
I want people to feel drawn to it. But it's really deep work. It's
mm.
really deep work. At least it has been, for me in all of the years that I've been doing it.
How many years have you been doing this?
I've been teaching this particular modality for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
Before that, I've taught other things. I teach drumming, and also I was a children's music teacher for many, many years. But I wanted to also go back to your question about the what if there's a concern? What if I feel like I can't sing? Well, guess what? Your voice is not your only instrument, right? Because you also have your body. And so we have rhythm, which is inextricably, blended with tonality or not. Sometimes tonality can be what we call rubato, which is just flowing, kind of airy without rhythm, right? There's that too. There's space for many things. But with the rhythm piece, it's a way to also contribute to what's happening, right? It's pretty, fundamental aspect without necessarily feeling that you have to match a pitch or something like that. So,
So this is almost making me feel like it doesn't matter where we're at, we will always have something that we can contribute with
totally,
and create something amazing. Is
totally.
it's contributing our unique piece, and how do you help people bring that out in them?
Yeah, that's a great question. Uh, Through play, we start. We do some grounding. We get connected and centered. We move our bodies. We release. We kind of shake out. And then we begin to release with the voice in a way that is playful and fun. And I find that at some point, you know, that door begins to open and people will get more freed up. And
Mhm,
it's all about the acceptance that we create as a group of each other.
mhm, mhm.
The respect and the acceptance and the inclusion that we create as a group. Yeah.
I'm sure that it takes somebody very skillful to be able to help people bring that out in them and make them feel safe and comfortable. Because, like what I was
Mm.
saying at the beginning, what if people feel like, oh, I can't sing, or they even feel it happens to me. I took singing lessons a while ago, and I have a music background.
Mm.
Um, and it was very vulnerable for me because I didn't want to make a mistake.
Hmm.
So I'm sure that it takes somebody who can see beyond that to help people bring that out in them. And so, what do you think? What would you say that is the greatest thing that happens when people come together and break out of that shell and then create something? What have you seen that happens?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the greatest thing that happens is that any person who's willing to take the risk to go beyond a personal fear or limitation is giving everybody else permission to do the same thing,
Mhm.
right? And if we hold it with respect and with care, then it becomes the norm of what we can do. And if we think back to like, old school music lessons, for example, where it's just like, do your scales, da, 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 da. Like, I'm not saying that's not important. I mean, I'm a musician and I absolutely believe in the fundamentals of, fundamental music skills. If you want to progress, right, you're going to need to be able to understand scales and basic rhythm and all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean that every human needs to be a performer. Music is for everybody.
Mm.
And so there's just different ways that we can play with music that doesn't have to be about being, polished.
Right.
And again, even more important for me in this context is expression,
Mm.
authentic expression. Because
That
I'm
is
telling you that
so
when I give people space to do it, they don't want to stop. They don't want to stop because they're like, well, I don't have anywhere else where I can do this in my
Mm.
life,
Mhm, mhm,
and
mhm.
then we're all just sounding like, a bunch of maniacs in the room or whatever. But it's funny, it's deep, it's releasing, and I often people walk away feeling just lighter.
Mhm, mhm. You were talking about this kind of container helping people develop more confidence, and there was also something about cognitive ability or something around the brain, and
Mhm.
that caught my attention because of the work that I do, and I wanted to
Mhm.
ask you about that. How does that help rewire the brain or bring
Mhm.
confidence, and how does that tie into that?
Mhm. Well, let me speak to the confidence aspect first. I just think that any time in any situation, that we take that small step forward and we say, okay, I'm going to push myself just beyond this, you know. I mean, that is how we gain our confidence. We have to risk. We have to risk, you know. So you risk a little bit, and hopefully, again, if you're in a safe environment, you're in a safe container where people are willing to work with where you're at, then hopefully that's a positive experience. Just that in itself is a rewiring of our brain, right? Because many people have had negative experiences around music. So to be able to replace it with a positive experience is already a reframing of what it might have been like in the past and whatever fears we have about going into it in the future. So there's that. On another level, so I'm known to quote, I believe it's Daniel Levitin in his book that is called "This Is Your Brain on Music." Hopefully I got the author correct. And he said that when they put electrodes on people's heads while they were making music, and they compared it to other activities, they discovered that making music, I'm separating this from listening to music, which has its own benefits, but it's a little different. When you're actually making music, you're lighting up more parts of your brain than any other activity.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And I thought, really? Like more than football, even? You know what I mean? I was just like, oh, I don't know. So, why do we even care about lighting up these parts of our brain? Because the thing about we're all aging. um, and the thing about making music is that we're asking our brains to engage in many different aspects at the same time. So while we're paying attention to rhythm, we're paying attention to tonality, we're paying attention to our breath, our posture. There's so many different elements happening at once, and it's really good for our brains. I like to also do body percussion exercises where we're counting. We've got one beat maybe happening on our feet, and then we got something else happening in our hands. And it's not simple even for me sometimes to do these exercises, and I can literally feel my brain expanding and working.
I can totally feel that. And what I love about what you're saying is that it's making me realize that while everything is happening in your inner world, you're also having an awareness of what's going on the outside. And it's almost like it gives you that immediate biofeedback
Hmm.
that comes back and validates or helps you reassess. And then you can, like you're saying, your brain expands into like, whoa, what is wanting to flow next? And what an amazing concept you've created here. Is I can't wait. I'm gonna be there, and
Awesome.
I can't wait. I can't wait. So we have a few more minutes. Is there anything that you would like to say to wrap this up?
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. And also, I just want to say, yeah, that we really need this as humans at this time. There's so much division. And when you come together in a circle that is an equal, it's a sphere, right? There's equality in the circle, and there's room for your voice. There's space for you. And we're not necessarily even using words. We often work with gibberish, with vocables, can get us a little bit out of that mental state of having to be concerned about, is what I'm saying okay? Is it being received okay? And we can be in a kind of a more playful flow of expression. So I just feel like there's something about the human connection element as well that I find really nourishing and healing. Yeah.
I am blown away. I'm so glad that we decided to do this interview because I even for me, just knowing the vast therapeutic applications to something that can be so fun, playful, in
Mm,
connecting all of us in, through our hearts, really,
yeah.
through the energy that we all come together with, and everyone having their own place. It's just beautiful. I can't wait. This is just so wonderful. Thank you so much for deciding to bring your gifts and your medicine to Creative Healing Center. And for
Mm.
everyone listening, we hope you join us. It's happening this Sunday, June 23rd, right?
Yeah.
At 6.
From 6 to 8 p.m.
Yeah, so join us, sign up now. The link is
We
going to be
are so
somewhere around
excited.
this.
Please come and play with us.
Yeah, come and play. All right, my dear. Thank you so, so much.
You're welcome. Take care.
See you then.
Bye.